I love who I am. I'm loving me. Look in the mirror. I'm not politically clean. Love what I see. Love who I am. I am invincible. I am a fan. My curves and my features, God makes no mistakes. I am successful. I am what it takes. I'm bulletproof. I'm 100 proof, and I love who I see because I'm living my truth. I'm invincible. I'm incredible. A star in the making. I reach past the clouds. I'm invincible. I'm incredible. And no one can stop me. Can stop me now. I'm invincible. Mission, I'm trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transitioning mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life. Making a transition, dark side.
All right, guys. Welcome to Alchemizing Energy, and today we have a special guest. Excuse me. She is a retired Army captain, and I actually met her. I was getting a mammogram at the VA, and I've been out of the military for almost, I'd say, since 1997, and the nurse that was there said, are you getting disability? And I was like, no. She's like, you should. I was like, well, because I have asthma, I have like some, issues. So you should check into your disability benefits. I said, well, I don't think I could get them because I have a job and I don't want to like not be able to work. She said, you'll be able to work. And she gave me this lady's information, and the more I talked to her and the amount of information I know, I was just blown away. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to the stage Rose Hart of Claims By Hart.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Welcome, and thank you for taking your time out today to grace us with your presence.
So Rose, I wanted to like get a little bit of your background, your time in the service, just what made you even join the military?
Growing up in Massachusetts, it was a little bit difficult in the city life, the struggle there of getting monies for education. I was fortunate enough that I was smart enough that I got a scholarship, and I was going to medical school. That was my plan. And a friend of mine, whom in the summers we visited in Alabama, she wanted to join the military, and she brought it to me, and I said, okay. I didn't know anything about it, so we decided to join together. She went reserves, I went active, and I said I wanted to go to Europe because I knew how to speak German, and I wanted to try it out for size. And that was my initial entry as enlisted at that time. And I stayed in about 10 years on that journey. And at the end, got married, had one kid, and decided I wanted to be at home with my kids to raise them. And that's when I had gotten up to E7 at that time. I said I was going to step away and raise my children. I had two, a boy and a girl at that time. And I ended up, actually I was E6 at that point, but I made E7 while I was on bed rest because I had complications with my children. So that was the initial journey to coming to the military as to why.
Wow. So, just for those that don't know, E7 is pretty much the highest rank that is an E9.
E9 is highest.
E9 is the highest rank you can get in the as a non-commissioned officer.
Yes.
And she was an E7, so she was what we would consider probably the almost almost a master sergeant in the Air Force, right?
Right. Pretty close to that. Yeah, pretty high. And I had done it in like 3 to 6 years. I had done it really fast. So
Wow.
yeah, that was the other part of it. I loved education, always have, and that journey there allowed me to excel in my rank as well.
Wow. And then you decided to leave the military without retiring at the time, but just leaving early. And then you decided to start a family.
Correct. I separated in 95 and was with my children. Things didn't work out with my first husband and we parted ways. So by then I'd had an additional child. So I had 3 children and I decided, hey, I really need to retire from the military because that's be great benefits for my kids. Because I didn't know what no one has certainty of what will happen. And at that time I was working for the Augusta VA Medical Center. And I commissioned back in and was as if I had never left. Everything was still the same pretty much during that time. So I commissioned in 2007 as a medical service officer.
Commission, and then you switched over from non-commissioned to an actual officer at this point.
Right. Now. Yes. By then I'd had, like I said, I love education. I had associates, 2 bachelors, my master's, and I had started my PhD, and you didn't need all that to come back. I just did a direct commission, and pretty much you fill out an application, and then they say yes or no, and 20 of us were accepted at that time for active duty officer.
Did they start you off as a... Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Did they start you off as a lieutenant, or did you go second lieutenant, or...
Yes.
I'm not sure what the difference is in the Army versus the Air Force.
So the second lieutenant is where everybody starts at, of course. But because I was enlisted before, I got additional money. So I got second lieutenant. I was considered OE money on top of that. So officer and enlisted money. So the money is a little bit different when you come back. But I started as second lieutenant, and it was like within 18 months altogether, I was a captain after that.
Wow. So, the Army moves fast with the ranking.
Oh gosh.
Air Force is not that fast.
Yeah. So, but it helps if you do a lot of education.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, everyone's saying how beautiful you are.
Oh. Thank you.
It's beautiful. Yes. To think that you're retired, it's like, man, you look very young.
Tired. I know I look really young. That's the curse of my grandma, but I take it. I am turning 60 years old, and
wow.
Company is a baby. It's be 4 years old, the 24th of August this year, and it has been a phenomenal journey learning the ins and outs of everything that I had to do. I started it while as a free service while I was in the military. I just wanted to help my other veterans or service members while I was in to get their disability benefits, and what turned into something of helping turned into a business for me.
So this is the company. It's called Claims By Hart, and what Rose here does is she actually helps veterans receive their disability benefits. And I just wanted to see what was the driving force behind you wanting to help people and to do this, because this is a blessing for people to get their benefits. What made you decide you wanted to do this?
Well, unfortunately, tragedy always brings out triumph of success for others or love for others. I had a unfortunate divorce at the end of my career when I retired, and it landed me homeless. And I'm a fighter, so I'll fight through anything. And I was doing this for free, and a friend from home Antonia Payne. We've been friends from high school. She said, girl, you have a multi-million business. Why don't you just make it a business and start getting money off of that to get yourself back on your feet? And that's what happened. And I just continued finding different ways to help people get things, learning more. I read so many notes from Congress. I'm an avid reader. I love reading. I read things just because. And it turned out there were so many loopholes they had that the service member can't, with a veteran, can't navigate through all of this stuff. And this just came easy for me. It was such a passion. And I mean, I love it. Love it. I love doing it. I try my best to help any and everybody. I've been successful of getting, I think I'm up to 280 hundreds within 3 years. And I have so many other clients within that area of almost getting 100. So I just keep pushing them, because a lot of people give up when they get to a certain point because it's daunting. You don't think you're going to get there, and there's no one really helping you within the VA system. So it's hard for them. And I'm just grateful to be that light.
It's a lot of red tape, a lot of like just moving parts and stuff like that. And people, veterans that are out there, there is help out there, and a lot of us struggle when we leave the military. And you see a lot of homeless veterans that are mentally disabled. And I'm sure that if they had the help, like a person like you, that maybe they weren't getting the benefits, they wouldn't be out on the street, because they would have the
right.
So
I do get a few homeless veterans that I have the opportunity to help. I'm grateful for that. And I don't know the transition, because there's so much. I had one client that I went all the way through. So they were homeless. They got benefits. And then I found out that in the state of Texas, I don't know how true this is in other states, but in the state of Texas, they will, if they come to the housing and request Section 8 housing, they go to the top of the list. The veterans do. And they're not privy of this information. So it's such a huge disconnect. So they don't know what's available to them, and what's available isn't searching for that homeless veteran either.
exactly, and so I think it's important for services like yours that exist. So explain. So you left the military. You came in as an officer. You also had your own struggle, with retiring and moving on, where they were trying to. The military is so brutal when it comes to benefits and the things that you're due.
Yeah. So on my transition out, I made major. I did not want to stay because the previous year, I was the general secretary. So I had a very prestigious job, and my boss was a full bird colonel. And the previous year, they had told him he could not get out. So this scared me, because I knew next year was my turn to put my paperwork in to retire. And I managed to put it in, and I got my papers. I was excited. And then I came down on the major list to be promoted to major. And I said, no, I don't want that. I want to leave. And so I'm not sure what they thought in their minds of things that somebody could convince me, but they sent down this full bird African-American colonel to speak to me. And in her words, she told me that no one turns down field grade. And it wasn't a great idea what I was going to do, as if they had been in my shoes before and experienced what I had experienced. So I says, no, I'm not doing that. I turned it down. I left, and someone decided to change my paperwork. So I was on a path not to receive money for 2 years, and I didn't even know. So once I had gotten out, at the same time, I was married again, and I had been married to this gentleman for about a year, and he had ran up $150,000 of debt. And because I didn't want to fight, I just wanted to be left alone. I said, let's just divorce. You go your way, I go mine, and I'm not going to fight you. I just want to be left alone. And I ended up with $150,000 of debt. So in my retirement, I had to give all my retirement money to this debt that had mounted up and try and survive at the same time. And that's how I ended up with the homeless portion. And I ran out of money, and only to find out later that somebody had went in and changed my paperwork.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you ended up homeless?
I sure did. Yep. I was
Wow.
homeless. One of the supervisors in the I think she was the finance or she was part of the VA, but she was part of the finance for DFAS. She went in and she put me down as homeless because she asked me, where are you staying? I said, I'm living with friends. I don't have any money. And she says, well, sweetheart, you're homeless. I says, oh, okay. Didn't even recognize I was homeless, but I was living with friends and they really did take very good care of me. They fed me. I had a room, everything. I didn't have to stay on the streets, but they kept me, in their house without any monies from me at all. None. So
Can I ask you a question? Can you walk us like down the path right within that time? At that time, you had the 3 kids by then,
I had 3 kids. Yes.
right? The
So,
3 so at
2
what
of
point
them were in college then.
the steps when you go back, and now you've got the 3 kids, and then the steps to you want to leave before we even get to they gave you no benefits because it's kind of hard. Your mom at that point, you're a single mom.
Mhm.
Now you're back on duty, and then how was the child care? Did you have problems with
They were
child?
a little bit older. They were a little bit older. My daughter and my middle son had just started college. The other saving grace was my oldest son had joined the Army. So I didn't have to take care of him, but I still had to figure out how to pay them college bills because nothing was coming in. And
Oh,
so
so it's
nothing was coming in.
true that they pay the bills for you, and you know how to get you in. They said they'll send you to college and all these other things, and they'll pay it.
I'm not from Texas. I'm not from Texas. So I thought that I could use the Hazelwood. I did apply for the Hazelwood. They did give it to me only to figure out that I wasn't qualified for it. They didn't take the money back from me,
Wow.
but they did tell me that I couldn't use it after that. So I had to figure out how to keep them in school. And it wasn't until I finally got the VA money. You get a chapter 35, and chapter 35 paid $1,500 to them while they were going to school. And that was the extra money that I was able to get at that time after the struggle, of course.
So now you're ready to leave, right? And was it certain things that paperwork or something you were supposed to do and you didn't do?
I did all the paperwork. That's the thing.
But they wrote it in wrong. The paperwork was still wrong. Wink, wink, right?
I personally did my own paperwork because I already knew what I was to do. And someone went in afterwards and changed it. That's what happened. So I didn't look to find out who. I really didn't care. I just took it as, a struggle that God had set for me. But it was necessary because I'm grateful for the struggle because it sure enough made me push harder.
Yeah. So then you have to leave there, and you're in. What is your hometown?
Excuse me?
Your hometown.
Oh, where I'm currently living now?
No. Your hometown, like where you grew up at, where you born at.
Oh, Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, and Mattapan.
Oh, so
I
now
think
you're
your mic might be a little bit going out a little bit, Sugar Love.
Uh-huh.
Do you have it close to your mouth, or it's kind of hard to hear?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there you go.
It's moved up. I don't have a microphone yet. So now you're in Texas. Now, is there any besides your children? Are there any family?
No, just me.
Oh.
I know that's even different too. Just me.
Right. So now you're walking out of there with nothing. Wow. Okay, now you can go ahead.
No, not nothing. $100,000 in debt.
That
150. Don't get it.
Negative
200.
She served her time.
Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I don't need one. Just leave me alone.
She served the time and walked out with a negative.
Yep. I used all my TSP. I used all my Roth IRAs, all my retirement, everything to try and stay afloat. But I didn't know someone had already changed the paperwork. Because by the time I decided to, try and go file bankruptcy, I didn't have any money to give the attorney. And he said, well, there's nothing really I can do for you. That was another saving grace. So I didn't get to file bankruptcy. So that's not on my record. So I just struggled and waited. That was it.
So now you at the friend house and you're homeless. So now you can take us back from there.
On a day-to-day basis at her house, I was still helping people at her kitchen table do disability claims and had not made the connect. You should charge people and get money to help yourself. I did not. That was when my girlfriend, she pointed that out to me. She says, you're helping all these people. They should be helping you too. They're getting this money for life and you're not asking for anything. And I wasn't. And I just wanted to help people. So. And I mean, I would cook for my friend, her and her husband and her mama. They stayed at the house too. I would cook for them. I would clean the house. I would, just to make myself useful in someone else's home. Because, I'm not paying for anything. I'm not paying for my own toothpaste. I'm not paying for my own soap for my body. If we go to the store, I have nothing to purchase with, nothing. And they provided all that for me.
So were you going to did you still get your benefits to be able to go to the commissary and get stuff?
I didn't have any money to go to commissary. I'm talking about $0, like lint in your pockets. I had no money. After I used everything to try and pay those bills off, I ended up with 5 charge-offs. My credit score was in the pooper.
It was good that you were doing it in the beginning because you was giving blessings. Right? You was giving blessings to receive blessings. So.
Amen. That's how I see it. And that's why I said, I'm glad it happened to me. And I don't know if somebody else would have been strong enough to handle it, but I'm glad it happened to me because when just somehow when these things happen, the rainbow on the other side is just so brilliant, so beautiful. Because right now, I am so happy. I am. It is great. It's a great thing. It really is. Both my boys are back home with me. The one that was in the military, he's 100% disabled benefits. I did his claim as well for him. My youngest son, periodically, he goes to college here and there and sometimes not. He's a little bit not sociably apt, if you will, because he started college so early at 15. And I think that kind of hurt him because he didn't know. I mean, he was really smart. So I was grateful for that too. So he went to school a little bit earlier than he,
He's a little introverted.
Extreme. He doesn't come out around the rest of the house. He stays in his room. He's very introverted.
Me and DJ have one of those too.
Yeah, my daughter's like that too.
Me and DJ have one.
I'm trying to figure out what to do to get him motivated to go out and do. I offered to buy him a car. I offered all kind of things to him, and no, I'm okay.
Well, can you let us know?
I don't know. I want somebody to tell me. I've been going to different.
I don't know neither. That's just them
praying about it. I don't know.
I think it's the times that we're in right now that everybody just kind of
Yeah.
So you started this. So I would say, what would be the biggest challenge that you have went through in your life? Like, well, hey, homelessness is a huge challenge. Overcoming homelessness and then finding out. I mean, it's crazy. Like you've been going through so much, but you seem to be handling it very gracefully. You just said, you know what? You go through this. You did this. I don't want to be bothered with you. Leave me alone. You go through this, so somebody signed the paper wrong purposely on you. You just said, you know what? I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm just going to keep it moving. Like, I mean, I would be raising hell all throughout the town. You know what I'm saying? But you were graceful.
I've learned my struggle in life is learning patience, and I think that because that was my challenge, I'm not 100% now, but I have learned patience where in some things, I think about, do I want to know who did it? Yes, I do sometimes, but is it going to benefit me? No. So I weigh it. It's like that teeter scale. What's more important to you? Knowing who did it or just going on with your life and being happy and peace and having my peace. it's not necessary because I don't know how angry I would be about the situation. So we just let that go, let them have that, because I have seen, too many times the like they say, I wish I could be a fly on the wall when that person gets it. I've seen so many people get what was due them that is not necessary. I know they will get theirs. I wasn't even worried about it.
So did your ex-husband that put you in so much debt ever come back to try to help you out at all?
No, he caught me trying to get back with me at one point or another, and that wouldn't happen because I'm a one and done kind of person. So you burn your bridge, you're done. I don't like going backwards and things like that. And his mom, she periodically speaks to me because she feels that, I felt like you treated me respectfully and more as a daughter than any other relationships that he had. So I say, whatever you do your best at it, because I've been able to see a lot of my flowers while I live, because people will come back to me and say, hey, I remember you did this or this for me, and I'm so grateful and I thank you. A young lady in Hawaii, when I was stationed out there, she was in a T-Mobile store and she couldn't pay her phone, and I paid the phone for her. Someone gave her my number. I don't know how she got it. This is like 7 years later. Someone gave her my number and she called me to thank me and told me she couldn't buy food and pay her phone, and I paid her phone and that helped her. So I always try and find a way to help. I say I'm that extension of sharing love. I am.
So
And
tell us some of
it
the things.
shows all over you.
Oh
The
yes,
glow,
it's a big
that glow
yeah.
you have, it just shows. Oh, I mean, you couldn't deny you are surely a phenomenal woman. A phenomenal woman. Yes, you are. That glow is there. That's
Thank
blessings.
you.
Blessing. And you're giving so many learning lessons here just
Gosh.
in life also.
Mm.
Because with the trials and tribulations, I love how you show that you still stand tall. So was that something that you always had in you, or you picked that up in when you was in the military, or was that you the person?
That was early on in life. I had struggles my whole life. So I left home at 13. That was one of my struggles with my mom. We didn't have a great relationship. She's passed on. We're still at the end. I got the opportunity to be the help for her at the end before she had passed on. But
Mm-hmm.
I left home at 13, and we had gotten into an altercation, my mom and I, and she sent the police to find me. And of course, they told me if I didn't go back home, I had to go to foster care. I says, okay, let's go to foster care. And from 13 on, I was in foster care. And that's how I ended up going to college, because all her kids went to college. The Miss Mills, that was my foster mom's name. And because of her, I had the same opportunity as her kids did, and everybody went to college from her house.
So
Also,
you
that's where that bill required from that's where that college bill came from when you and that's why okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm trying to piece it together.
Yeah, you
So
get strength from a lot of places.
right. So that's beautiful. You even was making decisions at 13.
13. Hmm.
Right. Wow. You were standing strong then. Well, then I guess I go to foster care. Right. I never heard a 13-year-old would say that ever. You would be like the first, but I don't know the
You're angry
circumstances.
and stuff, and you get
Uh-huh.
mad. But I was one of them stubborn ones. I got mad, and I'm gonna hold on to whatever it is I say I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hang on to it, like, bite some teeth into it. So if I say I'm gonna do it, I'm definitely gonna do it.
Did you have siblings though?
I
Biological?
had half siblings. Between my mom and dad, it was just me. He didn't have any more kids. And my mom had two other children, a girl and a boy. So they're my half brother and sister. They had different dads as well. And one lived in Florida and he stayed in Massachusetts. He's deceased now as well. And my mom's deceased. And I believe my dad is deceased. He's from Atlanta. So I used to go there a lot for the summertime too.
Oh wow. I mean,
Mhm.
so now you done had enough. You went to college, and then you said, well, let me, like you said, let me take that chance. If she could do it, I could do it. So,
Mm-hmm.
what was like? Could you tell me, like, when you first got there, like, what was your take on it? Because I know it was really hard. Because they strip you down
Oh
to
gosh.
nothing, right? So, right,
Okay.
let us know how that is for a woman there, right?
Okay. When you first come to the military, so everything is based on an amnesty that you're telling the truth. So what they do is they have you anything that you have, whether it be medication, um, they call it contraband. Anything you have that's not of the military, they make you discard it. And when you first come in, you have to drop it in this red amnesty box. So you're basically saying, I have nothing. Then when you go on through, Alexa, pause. When you go on through,
Sorry, I'm not sure.
when you go on through the system, so you have your street clothes, they take all that away from you. If you had, phones or anything, they take all that away from you. And then you are given what you will wear. So it's real scary because everybody's doing the same thing, but you don't know any of these people. So you don't know what to expect. It's almost like I liken it to the cows going through the slaughterhouse. When you walk through that thing, they don't know what's on the other side. But the military is like that. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what the rules are, what's right, what's wrong, and they give you everything. So they strip you of everything, and then they give you everything that you should have, or how they want you to be, or how you should, function in all aspects. So it's you coming from different walks of life. So some people are city people, some people are country people. So you got all these different values and different styles and different everything, and you got to blend with these people, be friends with them and everything else, and you don't know them, they don't know you don't. It's just a lot of uncertainty right away, so you don't know anything. And it was difficult. It was difficult. I mean, then they tell you to do stuff that you've never done before, and you have to learn how to do it. And then it's the one thing that I didn't like, and I was very athletic. I was a runner no matter what anyway. So being athletic helped me in a lot of stuff. But for those who weren't, they were often bullied. So they were the root cause why we didn't get to celebrate or have certain things off. They said, well, your teammate didn't make it, so everybody's get punished for it. Stuff like that. And that was caused those people a little bit of discord.
Oh, and not only that, but you're getting hollered at the whole time. You're getting yelled at like
All the
24
time.
hours.
You don't get a moment to rest. You're screamed at from the time you wake up. You need to be hurrying the whole time. You're running everywhere you go. You eat your food like it's running away. You just don't have time. And then you get no sleep because, you may have had a regiment that, hey, I go to bed about 9 o'clock. I'm good to about 6. No, you go to bed, if they have you up to 11, and you get right back up at 4. And to this day, I still get up at 4 a.m., sometimes 3.
So somewhere down the line, you had your eye on Mr. Who. Was he in the military
He was in the
also?
military also.
Mm-hmm.
Time I got to go to Germany. That was my first duty station. So that was great. And he was there. And I met him there, Eugene Larkins at that time. We dated. It was a love-hate relationship. We really should have never got married, honestly. But we stayed together for 13 years. And then we parted ways after that. Yeah.
You were
But
a
he's
housewife, right? You was a housewife. You like left the military to be a housewife for him.
95. Mm-hmm.
So
2000.
so I mean, a lot of times there's this like new thing about being that people are finding out being a housewife, that when you like dedicate yourself to being a housewife 100%, and then that marriage breaks up, there's
Yeah, I
like
was
a
scared to death.
yeah.
I had 3 kids, didn't know. At this time, they were little. They were baby about then, about 5, 6. They were little. And I had no clue how I was going to do this. And I was scared to death.
Again, you see.
Scared to death.
Mhm.
That's why I stayed so long, because I knew the marriage was over after 5 years, but I didn't know how I was going to take care of 3 kids. And Truthfully, I did not want one child at all. He wanted 5. I did
Oh.
not want one. I never wanted kids. And he wanted 5. He ended up with 5, 2 with his new wife, and my 3.
Woo! He
I'm
wanted his
glad,
vibe.
I'm glad she took the other load. Right?
And
I'm glad she took the other load off my hands.
because her child was already 20, 25 or something when she had them 2 kids. I said, not me.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Could have
So
been
now,
you. Look at you. It could have been you.
No. No. Mm-mm.
so now you have to make a decision, and you made the decision to go back.
Yes. So what? Okay. So
So
I'm
how does that procedure go? Do
Mhm.
they let you back in because you went out on maternity leave, or can people leave and come back?
You can leave and come back. So
Now,
there's several different options on leaving and come back. So if you do it within, let me see, I think it's so many months. I can't remember what it is. You can come back and keep your same rank. So they'll give you those options there. My case, I had been out years. So what I was looking at is I'm working in surgery every day, standing on my feet, waiting for someone to let me go to the bathroom because I'm scrubbed in as a surgical assistant. I'm assisting in all these surgeries. I'm teaching all these people surgery. Kind of mad at myself that I didn't stay in college and finish my medical degree. And I'm teaching them how to do the surgeries because that was part of the thing I did in the military too. So
mhm.
I stepped right into civilian life and it was just seamless. So I said, you know what? I'm just visiting. And I kept telling the people, I'm just visiting. And then I got all my paperwork. You just fill out. In my case, all I needed to do was fill out a DA-61 saying I wanted to be a commission officer, write a letter saying why I wanted to be a commission officer, and then take a professional picture in your civilian clothing and find a medical, in my case, I was medical, find a medical recruiter for officers. Is not the same as the regular recruiter you go to. You have to find one. And the one I found, since I was in Augusta, Georgia, was in South Carolina. The other one was in San Antonio on Babcock down there. That was the other medical recruiting office. So I submitted all my documents to them. And they said, well, are you going to go active or are you going to go reserves? I said, I want active. They said, well, you only get one chance each year to be selected. And I chose the active. And we waited a while and waited a while. The girl was calling me. And I was wondering why she was calling me because I'm scrubbed in doing surgery. So I couldn't come to the phone. And so the girl, the nurse that was in the room said, hey, I'm gonna put you on speaker in the room that she's in and you can talk to her, but she can't come to the phone. And so the girl called in and she said, you made it. They only selected 20 people. You made it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to the military. I'm going. And so you, as an officer, when you come back, you do have to go to a little officer basic training, but not as in depth as the first time you went to the training, but you had a knowledge base.
So officer training is not as brutal as the basic training.
Well, if you've already done the basic training, no, because the BOLIC, Officer Basic Leadership Training, is called BOLIC. It's the folks that have already been enlisted before are in that. The folks that hadn't been enlisted, they have to go through the whole whatever they go through. I don't know what it is because I didn't have to go through that part. They finally met up with us when we got to Fort Sill to do the officer training portion after that, and then San Antonio for the medical portion.
Oh, okay.
So how long did you stay then? How long did you stay after just when you went back before you
Okay, so I commissioned in 2007 and I retired in 2018.
Oh, you stayed a nice time for them to do
I
you dirty.
had
For them to do you dirty like that. So, but in total, if we take out the years, in total, how long was you there?
Okay, from the enlisted start date, the first day I got there to the end date, they did a computation, so it came out to like 30 years because portion of the break. But
And
I'm
they did
only,
you like that?
huh?
And they did you like that?
But you're not with the same people. That's what people don't understand. That even though you had that long duration there, you may see one or two people that you were stationed with at any one location. So you get moved around almost every year or every 3 years or something like that. So you're never around the same people the whole time. So the folks I was with were folks that were in Hawaii. And that was my last duty station, Hawaii.
And it was mainly because they wanted you to stay in longer than the
Yeah.
time and get paid less.
They felt it was a slap in the face for me to turn down field grade officer. And I have no idea why, because it's my choice. And I didn't understand that. And they said, well, nobody does that. Well, the only difference between the two is $125 in retirement. So I got $125 less.
What does a field grade officer do? What is the prestige of that? Why is it so prestigious?
So once you make field grade, so they were under the assumption I needed to go work somewhere for real. So once you make field grade officer, that's like where you get like ceremonial things. You're recognized if you come. When I come back, I'm not recognized for anything unless I know you and you ask me to come to your retirement and they say, oh, that's Captain Hart. Here, I want her to sit here. I'm reserving a spot for her. I don't have any prestigious anything. I'm just like a regular everybody that came as officers. So there's no recognition for me coming to something unless you were doing something for me. But I'm okay. I don't need fanfare.
And so it's more of a prestigious to be able to like when you see the people from the VA, those with all them buttons on their hats and stuff like that.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
like
I don't need all that.
Yeah, so okay.
I just knew that I needed to retire and I needed to have something for my children. And the retirement was what I was hinging everything on. And every day I would say, this is just a job. I'm coming to work. It's just like a regular job. And unfortunately, I did have a really good job. Being the general secretary, it's difficult. You have a lot of it's like that person twirling all the plates and everything. You have a lot of things that you have to keep up. I was in charge of his budget. I was in charge of his travel. I was in charge of any aspect of his life. I was in charge of all the people coming and going. I was in charge of his calendar, everything that happened in the other countries he had to go to. I had to make sure everything was dressed right, dressed perfect for him. He did have a few things that would get on my nerves. The things that he would complain about were crazy. So if the shower curtain wasn't a certain length, he would call me back at Hawaii from whatever country he was at and complain. If he didn't have 2 beds in his room, if he didn't have like his ironing board wasn't in his room or iron, or I mean, these are little picky things he would just do. And once I got the gist of whatever and I know it sounds crazy.
He can like call down to the bottom of the house, the hotel, and ask.
Go down to the hotel and ask them. He would call back, wake me up, and I would have to go and call those people and make sure they did whatever it is we wanted done.
Oh, so that's why they want you to become a field grade.
No, this is just me being at my level. That's what I had to do.
I'm saying if you would have got to be a field grade, you would have been able to call somebody and tell them that there was no iron in my room.
I would be that.
Is touching the ground. I need another room. I know it's 3:00 in the morning, but I need you to call downstairs to the hotel and tell them I need another shower curtain. They wanted you to get that, have that moment to be for all the hard work that you've been.
But once I figured him out, it was a cakewalk for me. So much so when I did leave my soldier, she was Hispanic, my direct soldier under me. She had soldiers under her, but she was my direct soldier. And when I left, she would call me back, ma'am. She said, oh my God, because they always would assume that I was not working. They said, because I had everything so organized and it was just smooth sailing for me. They said, she does nothing. All she do is sit in an office. She doesn't do any work, blah, blah, blah. So when I left, everything that I wasn't doing came to a head, and then it just kind of fell. No one was doing the finances, and because they didn't assign anybody to all my stuff. So because they felt that anybody could do my job, and anybody didn't do it, so nothing got done. And so every meeting they would have, she would call back and say, "Ma'am, I was just laughing. This happened. Nobody checked the credit cards. Nobody did this. Nobody did." I says, "Oh, okay. Thank you." That's why I say sometimes you get to be the fly on the wall after the fact.
That's crazy. So would you have gotten to have your own command if you would have became a
I already
caretaker?
I had my own command several times. So as a captain, you're a company commander. So as you go up, you can be different kind of commanders. So I had, Jesus. At my first command, I had 3 companies. So my brigade commander felt that I was strong enough to handle that. So I had a medical company, I had a HHC, and I had a FAST team. A FAST team is a surgical team that drops anywhere and performs surgery right away. So I was the commander over those 3 units. So when it was time for us to deploy, we were training for deployment, and I'd already gone on one deployment to Iraq by now when I became commander. And so I wanted to go with my team because we were doing a different kind of deployment. It was still in those countries. And so we trained together, and you have to get certified. So our company was certified to go. And then my brigade commander says, "Hey, Rose," no, she actually did it in front of everybody. And that's what really kind of caught me off. It was almost like a gut punch. She, after I'd done all this training, got everything all organized, she said, "Rose, you already have a patch. I'm going to have, oh God, I can't remember the girl's name. Major such and such go as the commander in your stead." And I said, "But ma'am, I really wanted to go." And she said, "You're not going." And because it was something these were my soldiers, and this is like your family. And it was such a huge gut punch. I started crying. And I mean, I didn't realize it happened like, bam. So
Lost our military bearing.
I did.
Military bearing. You're not allowed to cry.
She walked me outside and she said, "Rose, she doesn't have a patch. We're going to let her go." And it wasn't a good 2 weeks. I say maybe 3 just to stretch it. 2 weeks later, she got a DUI.
Wow.
Just right after that. So I don't know if she went or she didn't go, but I know I still couldn't go. She let somebody else have the spot, I guess. I don't know who got to go, but that person had a lot of problems thereafter.
And that was in Iraq?
I don't know where she went to. I had my team in Iraq when I was over there as well. So
Did you do combat like combat medical like stuff? Like was it like MASH? Was it like MASH? Doom 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 doom. Remember MASH? Have you seen that show MASH?
Nash was for 10 though. Ours was really, so my team was the medical team there, and I had my soldiers and everything. But so
if you had to get busy, you could get busy. That's what she wanted to know. If you had to get busy.
But no, the medical people, they're the ones that were people getting shot up. They're taking care of all those people getting hurt, and they have to also take care of the people that's on the other side getting hurt. They're taking care of everybody, and it's like, what?
That was the part I didn't like, because if they shot up people on the other side, we had to take care of them too. They would drag them in, and we had to take care of them. The only thing I had control over was when, like, some of our people were killed. We had to clean up the vehicles or clean up whatever the remains of that person. I wouldn't let my junior soldiers do it. I had the other officers that were under me and my senior NCOs do it, because I didn't want somebody's young 17, 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And it's not it's not like it was really my choice, because if my command said they had to do it, then they would have had to do it. But I made that call. And we, me and the other senior people, we took that on and recovered the remains and all of that. So
So
those
they make the medical people clean the
clean
remains.
remains.
Wow, I thought there would be a special thing for that.
No, it just depends on the units. Like, you don't have everything over there. So at nighttime, we didn't have any electricity. So the electricity go off. So we had generators, the military. So we would get lights, and the rest of the country, everything would be pitch black. And they would sleep on top of their houses and stuff like that. And then when a sandstorm came, that was like the worst time. It was almost like a snow blizzard, but it was all sand. And it was really, yeah.
But how do you breathe in that? Is it hard to
It
breathe?
was those, what do you call them? Well, I call them turtle, gator necks. You pull these things up, you had up over your nose and here, and you had goggles on. And it wasn't really that helpful. Because I think majority of the people that were over there, and this might have been why Congress went ahead and gave us the PACT Act, because I know I have a problem with it. If the weather changes here and it's going to rain, I can let you know before it even happens. So whatever was in those particles is in our sinuses and stuff from being over there.
Wow.
They developed the PACT Act. That was a lot to do with the respiratory issues that from the deployments. So they finally said they recognized it.
Wow.
So now you say, you know what? I don't gave y'all 30 years. My kids are grown, So now you go to write out the papers, right? Now, do you have the papers? Are the papers given to you, or being that you work in the office too, you have access to the papers that you have to fill out?
For me to retire?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything's online. So it's submitted up to Kentucky from where I was at. I was in Hawaii, so everything's submitted up to Kentucky. Like I said, I did my own paperwork. I walked it through. So someone had to deliberately go in and get paperwork and change it. It wasn't like my papers are laying on a desk and you pick them up and mess them up.
Right.
Deliberate. And I don't know how they did it, because even with my VA stuff, I put benefits delivered on discharge. And that means the day that you retire, so the day you leave the Army is usually the 31st. The first of the next month, you get your benefits on that day when you do benefits delivered on discharge. So that's an option. Then you have standard, and then you have the other option where you have all the evidence, and there's no need to go to comp and pen appointments. You just get your money. So I already knew all these because I've been doing this since the 90s. I did it through college. I did all this stuff, helping people do their claims and stuff. I've been doing it forever. So when that lady told me that, I said, she said she couldn't change it, but what she could do is just put it down that I was homeless, and that would expedite it at least 6 months.
Well, that's sad that a person that spent 30 years will still have to go through that when they leave. And the military needs to do something and figure out how to be better by the veterans. They've had to figure out a way to do that, because there's so many homeless veterans that when they leave, it's such a jarring thing, that exit,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the biggest things that, as my journey, and because you kind of asked me something about what was a difficult thing. One of the difficult things for me doing this business is, people have to talk to me about their medical journey of things that happened to them in the military. And I was not aware that men were sexually assaulted in the military. It's a big issue, primarily in the Navy. It's in a bunch of the other branches, but my largest group were the men in the Navy. And one of the gentlemen that I was talking to, he was driving, and he was telling me what was going on, because he wanted to be in his car to tell me he didn't want to be around no one else. And he was talking, and then all of a sudden he went into this catatonic state, and I could understand what he was saying. And I was screaming, pull over, because I knew he was driving, and I don't know where he was at driving. And he pulled over, And then when he came out of it, I said, don't ever talk to me about your stuff driving again. You scared me. I don't know where you're at. I have no way of helping you. I'm glad you were able to hear me screaming at you to pull over. But that was very, very, very difficult for me. And I didn't realize that that was a huge, huge problem in the military. So much so that little old me thought I could do something about it. I actually called Congress and just went off on whoever answered the phone about the issue of MST, that they don't provide enough to protect people's sons and daughters. They don't.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like, sexual abuse that happens in the military, just in general. And
Yep.
I would imagine it'd be the sexual abuse on the ships is, it's
That's
almost like
Navy. Mhm.
as you're on a ship in the middle of
And you
nowhere.
can't be away from your predator. That's how they were explaining it to me, and that just broke my heart. That was hard. That was hard.
And you don't want to end up over on thrown over the side of that ship into the water.
But nobody believes you. That's the other part of it. Nobody believes your story. It's not true. It didn't happen to them, so it's not true. And you're cornered with this person. Sometimes you work directly for this person, and they're just going on and on telling me these things. I'm like, how could this happen? But it happens.
I'm gonna say this, and it's because I've been to jail a few times. Do you know that jail is the process of going to jail is almost identical as the process of joining the military?
And I'm glad you said that, because that was one of the things I wanted to touch on. So after, sometimes when you sit, you think.
Yeah.
So after, and I'm thinking, man, 20 years to life. I volunteered for that. What the hell? Then I thought about it further and I said, but most of us don't know this. Even though you are out the military, on that piece of paper, you are able to be recalled. So when COVID happened, guess what happened to me? Almost. I was called up on a phone and they told me that you are more likely coming back.
What?
Yeah,
Are you
tired?
What from retirement? I got a letter like that before back
No,
when I was.
a phone call. It was a phone call.
Oh, okay.
They called me and told me that I was. That's why they keep your phone number so they can be in contact with you. Yes, they know where you at. And they called me and told me that, and they said, so it's almost like an alert warning to let you know, and then you'll get following instructions. You'll get some paperwork for you to go wherever it is you're supposed to go. And
so you could be in the middle of life.
Yep.
Bills, you can have a house, everything, and it's just like, you know what? Nope, you got to go to Iraq, and you got to pack up your stuff, and it's a drop of a hat and go.
When you sign your contract in the military, nobody reads all those pages, but at the end of the pages, you are theirs for life. So after you get out, so I'm still governed to military judicial system. So if I go out and do something and they want to bite at it, they can get a bite at it. That's what people don't realize. They still have the right to take action upon you.
Can you explain that a little bit, please?
I'm not the attorney part of this, but I do.
On the layman terms part.
Yeah, but so when you leave the military, your conduct is subject to. So say you're driving, you get a DUI, and you end up killing so many people or whatever, and the civilian sector, for some reason, you may have kind of got brushed, somebody you got tapped on the hand or whatever. The military can still come behind them and punish you. Their law has nothing to do with the land of the law here. It's different. So you can be punished twice. People don't realize that, but
even after you get out, even after you
still
served your time.
Something to defame the military in a way that they wanted to come after you, they will. They don't often do it, but they have the right to.
I'm trying to figure out why nothing happened to True now up in there in Carbon Nation. Well, go ahead. You just make now you're telling the truth. Now you're making me think.
Oh, yeah, he didn't go to jail.
A lot of people be telling false truth then.
So when you leave, you're still a representative of the military. I'm getting a paycheck from the military. So the only time you don't get a paycheck from the military is when you go to jail. They take your money away from you when you go to jail. But when y'all like your disability money, they take it away from you when you go to jail. When you come out, you can apply for it to get it back.
Wow.
I that in that situation. They went to jail, they stopped their money. When they come back out, they get their money.
Wow, I did not know that they could still recall you. You could be old and gray and living your life, and they can say, you know what, we don't got enough people.
If you're a specialty at something, definitely they need you. If their numbers go down in something and they need you, they really do.
Wow.
Now
And
let
see,
me
you
ask
being
you.
in the medical, that's high demand. Medical is in very high demand.
Well,
On
let
both
me ask you,
sides,
because they have now changed the law for the now it's automatic for young boys as 18 to be drafted. Now, does that rule still apply that if you're the only son, if you like the person's only son, if you're the only son, you might not have to get drafted, or none of that don't matter no more?
I have no idea how they're employing this. I did hear something of that, and my eldest son, he's 100% disabled by virtue of his papers. He was telling me about it. He said, "So, does that mean people who would I have to go back?" And I said, "I have no idea. I haven't read it."
That's for the new 18-year-olds.
I know. So my baby son is 24 years old. So he was declined the military because he has asthma and flat feet. They wouldn't take him. So
they wouldn't take me neither. I'm glad you told me that.
I don't know why.
But this law just I'm like, hold up. But I knew it used to be a thing back in the days. If you were the parent's only son, then you did that was your way out. But remember that was way back then. Now, I say that because even to fill out the summer youth, when the kids got to fill out the summer youth, they have to check that now. And this is just the work for the summer.
Yeah, but I don't have all the knowledge on that.
Just the work.
Yeah, so that's messed up. So imagine to be forced to join the military and then not even realize that the military can call you back anytime, regardless, no matter what you're doing. You got to stop, drop, and roll, and get on out. Even if you got kids, whatever what do they do with their kids if that happens? You just got to figure something out, call somebody.
Well, as a single parent myself, I ended up, you have to have a family care plan, and you have a long-term and a short-term one. So they'll just have to figure it out. It costs you a little bit more, because I had friends that helped me while I was in the military, like, their wife or their spouse were my short-term plan. And then if I had to go, when I deployed, I have a long-term plan at that point.
For your kid, yeah. And here's the thing, like being a you were a combat nurse or a combat surgical assistant?
I was just, when I went as an officer, I was a medical service officer. So in that, you have 7 different jobs. So you're a comptroller, you're plans, operation, training, and intelligence. You are logistics, a logistician. You can do, oh gosh, I don't remember all of them. HR, human resource. You can do
So when you go to officer, you become more administration of the
depends. In my branch, because you have different branch. There's signal and combat. You have all kind of different branches, but within my 70 series branch, all 7 of those jobs were jobs you could man, like comptroller at the hospital or something like that was part of it too. So you had all those jobs that you could train through, and then after your, I think it's 7th or 8th year as an officer, you get assigned to a job that's your job for the rest of your career. And so you could change it if you petition to do another job. You can change it. But
so had to go through any kind of therapy to get over some of the things that you've seen while you've been out deployed in Iraq and some of the horrors that you've seen?
I went to therapy on the way out because I was struggling with my children weren't happy where they were at. They were staying with their dad. And a lot of things that I don't normally do, they were being forced to do. And that really bothered me. So I had a difficult time my last part of my tour. And I did end up going for mental health care.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I mean, listen, I just
I'm
want to.
surprised every military person don't have ulcers. That should be an automatic thing.
It's very
Especially at the whole
Oh Lordy.
that's hard.
Mm-mm.
So let's get into your claims by heart, your company, and like some of the things that you do that you help people with. Now we can see why you're so dedicated. You've been through so much, and and instead of just retiring and just going to Florida and just doing nothing, you said, you know what, I still want to work, and I still want to help people, and that's when you started this company. So tell us more about this
Yeah.
this undertaking and how, you know, like some of the stories of people that you've been able to help that probably didn't know that they could even get benefits and were able to, like, you know, because a lot of us don't think that we can get benefits, right? We don't even think it's any, it's, you know, because me, you know, I've been out of the military since 97, and I never got any benefits, you know, and you had to tell me like, yeah, you're due, you know, you're due benefits, you know, you went through things, and and I just was just white knuckling through life struggling, and you know, and so I just wanted you to talk to you. I know I said a mouthful there, but yeah, let's get into
Okay.
it.
So one of the things, and a lot of people should tap into their communities, because the mayor of Mansfield, for the last 3 years, he would have me come out and speak on benefits for the veteran. I'd come in April and I'd come in October to his church. So I would tell them the things that they thought were myths, you know, facts and myths and so forth. Most people think that benefits, disability benefits are for folks that have their hands and legs cut off. Yes, but you're injured as well. Your body is in percentages, and the VA determines it's almost like wear and tear of a vehicle or a home or whatever. Your body is broken down into parts like that. So if you sprained your ankle while you were in the military, or you had flat feet when you were in the military because your arches may be fallen or whatever, that causes other problems for your body. So they determine percentages that you are due for all those pieces of your body. So my eldest veteran I helped, he's still alive. He was in the military during the time they were doing experimental trial drugs and things on the veterans.
Oh,
And
they love to do them experiments, because I think they didn't experiment with us too when we was getting shot. So I don't know what they were shooting us with.
he was in the military when Nixon was the president, and he had never got any benefits. He had no any benefits, and I was able to get him started. The first go round, he got 10%. He was excited. And I says, well, there's more. You could get more. I said, just bring me the papers and let me work on it. So I assisted him with his, he is currently in a rehab home right now until he can finish his claim. So he's still working on his stuff. So I haven't had time to get information from him. His family was supposed to reach back out to me. So for the most part, most people don't think that they're entitled to anything. They're and a lot of the Vietnam veterans were told, if you go to the VA to file a claim, you're going to be put in a psych ward. So a lot of them, when they came and talked to me, and their friends had talked to me, and they found that that was not true, then they got all this money, and then they're like very angry because people were lying to them the whole way out. No one tells you on the way out to go to the VA. No one. They have these programs called TAP. I don't know what they call it. That's in the Army. I don't know what they're called in the other units. But what they do is they will teach you about doing a resume, teach you about getting a job when you get out and all that. But no one ever mentions, hey, let us help you get your benefits, or let us transition you to help you. Because, I mean, it's a scary thing to leave the military and not have a plan. But I say you should just, it's difficult. So what I do is I get with my veteran and I sit down and we talk about everything that's happened to you. So for a person to get started, they would have to have their military records. If they don't, I can order them. Their DD-214. And if they've ever filed before, because some people try and they've gotten denial letters, I ask for those, because if I'm able to overturn them, I'll fight for back pay money for you. My highest person has gotten $96,000, and yes, that's one person. That person got $96,000 for back pay money, and I've had tons of people in between there. But so it's a process. I've been doing it so long that I kind of know what goes with what, and a lot of times people are so passionate about that one particular thing that they want to file for. I had a young man here in Texas. His brother is in Arkansas. I filed his brother's claim for him because he wanted his hip taken care of. For he had got it wrapped in a tarp or something when he jumped off a vehicle. And I told him I was never going to file for his hip. I said, but I'll file for other things for you. So he ended up with 100%. And then I asked him, do you still want me to file for that hip? And he says, oh, just leave me alone. But a lot of times people are too emotionally connected to that one item that they can't see all the jewelry or all the other money that's laying around them that you could just walk and pick up. And that's what I tell them. It's almost like picking up, do you want to pick up a grain of sand, or do you want to try and get that boulder? And this grain of sand, you can pick up a whole bunch of that, and that one boulder you may not be able to carry. So we get as much as we can in percentage wise with things that are either primary or secondary to something that you have. So a lot of secondary conditions are derived from things like, say, the flat feet again. So your lower back would be a secondary condition to your flat feet because it was aggravated by a military service connected condition. And there's a lot of law that plays with these things. I just love it. I love that. I love the results. I love the folks that come back that are so grateful for me helping them. But the other thing that they don't understand is, I speak to Texas mainly. The only things that they don't understand is the benefits that come. It's not just the money, it's the benefits you get. The veterans with their VA ID card can shop at the Fort Worth Carswell, what is it, JBR, NAS JBR over there. And they can shop at the commissary, PX, everything like normal with that disabled ID card from the VA. And that's all they need. That 10% gets you your funding fee waived if you want to purchase a home. You're entitled to purchase 2 homes as long as they are 25 miles apart and you live in the first house 1 year. I just did it. I bought one 2020 in Cleburne, Texas, and I just bought the other one the 8th of May, and I'm renting out the Cleburne one to pay the mortgage where I'm at now because the mortgage rates are so high now.
You know what? I did the same thing.
You're entitled to on your certificate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that's something. You also have you at the 10%, you can have $5,000 off the property taxes, which is they take it off the value of the home, lowering the property taxes. So you would file that with your county you're in, Tarrant County, Johnson County, whoever you're with, Dallas County, and do that. As you go up in increments, 30, you add your dependents on and you get more money because you have dependents. 50 is the sweet spot. You get everything there. 50, you get the medical, the full medical coverage with prescriptions free. You also get fishing license free. You get your DV tags on your car. You can park at both airports for free with the DV tags on your car only. You must pull a ticket, and when you leave, present it to the cashier, and you don't have to pay at the airports, either one. Also, with the DV tags on your car, you can go into state parks for free, and your vehicle registration will only cost you sometimes free, $3 or $11, and that's for the rest of your life for that one vehicle.
Wow.
Most people are paying, I think it's like 70, 80 bucks for their registration. I don't know. I haven't paid it in so long. I don't know how much it is. And so then it goes up to at 50, you get 7,500 off your property value and your taxes. Then the next level is 10,000, and then 80 to 90 is 12,000. 90, excuse me, is 12,000 off your property value, lowering it to there. Now, the nice thing about that is, say both of you are veterans. Say you have 40%, your husband has 7. You both get to claim each other as your dependents. And you both
Wow.
claim your kids as dependents. Yeah, they let you do that. So you get more money, both of you. So one of my husband and wife client of mine, the wife gets $4,500 a month, and she claims him, and he gets $4,000 and he claims her. So you could have a nice paycheck for the household. Once you get,
Someone's asking if you. I'm sorry. I know we were talking about one thing. What's the Black Horse Regiment?
Say it again.
Someone's asking you, did you serve with the Black Horse?
The cavalry. I was in Cav, first Cav. That's what the black Stetson is on my hat.
Oh, he said the black.
The sabers are, yeah, cavalry.
Okay, that's what. Okay.
Yeah, and no, I'm a Stetson girl, but I didn't get my spurs, so I'm a leg Stetson.
Yeah, but you got. Yeah, but the good part about it is you're still getting it now, right?
Oh,
you're just getting it in another way, but you're still serving,
right.
You know. So, you know, even if it's still helping people with the loopholes and getting them help, so you earned all your stripes actually, and then some. Because look at all the people that you're helping. If you were not in the job position that you were in, you would never had learned all of these things.
This was just me learning this on my own after I was in college. I learned it in college. I didn't, this had nothing to do with my job. And I pursued the rabbit hole. That's what happened. And I've even had where I tried to train others to do it. And you definitely have to have the passion behind it, because you have to want to help the people. And even though I've trained different people and showed them husband teams, they're still not doing it.
I would say this is that I think that your background in the medical, because there's so much things to do with medical disability.
You have to be able to read those medical records, that chicken scratch. That's the hardest part.
And doctors don't know how to write. They write in their own language. I think they purposely write it messed up so you can't understand it. I think
you can figure it out. It's a kind of a shorthand, but you can.
But isn't most of the stuff put in the computer now? It's where you could read it, or
yes, but yeah, some a lot of it's on computer, but you also get people that go to other doctors that have their own practice too. So you get numbers too sometimes. So you don't often get it all on paper, digits like that.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that's making you so good about this is like you have so many years in.
I've been doing it since the 90s, so it's almost like I can look at it, a page, and the words just kind of jump out at me like that.
Were you surprised of all the people who left and did not know and did not get any benefits and how they were living? You were like, what? You would think that, but to find out nobody, like for them to serve all this time and not have this knowledge.
Some people knew, some people did not. I'll just leave it at that.
What about the ones who didn't? It wasn't like, wow, you did. I mean, just to yourself, you think, and then you say, okay, now I have to provide a service.
No, we're gonna say
I didn't know it was so many people who didn't know. So let me
Right.
provide this service.
a
That's a
lot.
beautiful thing.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
We're gonna say some people knew, and then we're gonna hold up our hand and we're gonna point to our palm.
Mm-hmm.
Some people knew.
There you go.
Some people knew about the benefits, and then we're gonna
You
point
know,
to our palm.
and some of them didn't know, honestly, because one gentleman, I did his claim, and I think he only got like 40 or 50%. And he said, I knew they owed me something. He came back. This guy had me crying with him. The ones that, those are my favorite clients. The ones that are truly grateful to have something, like they just call back thanking me. Now I'm going to celebrate you when you get your 100% because I'm going to push you till you get that 100%. So a lot of people want to give up. My own doctor, she's at 90%. She's been at 90% probably a year or so. And she says, well, they're not going to help me, blah, blah. I said, look here. Yes, you are. This is mine now. You're at 90%. Now, if you were back there at 50, I let you sit there and wallow. No, but this is now mine. It's at 90%. It counts to my stats. So she's doing it now. She submitted her next packet because I had to push her. She had it the whole time. She just didn't submit it.
Now, with some people, do you recommend them to go to certain doctors? And what does that make your job easier, or it doesn't matter?
No. So there are no doctors I recommend. I do not use Nexus letters. I do not believe in what's the other thing that people said to do? Because the thing is, the VA and the VA administration are two different entities. People think just they went to all these appointments at the VA, that they have all these things they can claim. It has nothing to do with it. You just wasting your time.
That's
Now,
good to know.
Yeah, so that happens a lot. So things like, say you went to an emergency room and you were seen there, and let's see. Say you went in for migraines in emergency room. You tell them you're a veteran when you go in, because you can. And then they see you as the patient. They put the band on your arm. You are now admitted to that facility. Well, there's an 844 number that you should call. I'll have to remember the number, but that you should call to let them know you got admitted to the hospital. Let's say you got admitted to Baylor. And once you're there, you can stay a day, a month, a year, whatever. Once you're discharged, the VA pays that whole bill because you called and told them that you were there. So now that doctor,
good to know.
Yeah, the doctor's records there become he's impartial. So his records aren't part of the VA system, but now they become part of the VA system. So you have a doctor that's not part of the system validating the fact that you have migraines. So now that's something that's added to your claim, because it's going to be, it supports your claim, not added. It supports.
I know what you mean.
Yep. And I'm trying to find that number, so in case people do want that, I do have it.
So what's someone asked, do children of veterans, especially deceased veterans, get any benefits from their parents? Her father was a veteran and he's deceased now.
Okay, so that's kind of a so many parts question. So the survivors of the veteran, depending if the children are let's say mentally challenged, like Asperger's or retardation or things like that, the government still provides things for them. The wife of the veteran, if they had the insurance or those things, they will then get survivor benefit items for them. So they have stuff like that for them. As far as the kids directly, the only benefit that I've seen is, they're still at home with the parent, that the 100% covered the house, and, that continues on with the spouse.
And one other thing is that you did tell is that when you have the disability, at what percentage do they pay if you ever need to get buried? A lot of times right
away, you can be 0%. As long as you weren't dishonorably discharged from the military, you're entitled to be buried in the National Cemetery. And If your spouse, I don't know the time frame, but how long you were married to your spouse is authorized to be buried there too. Y'all can be buried side by side on top of each other. You can be cremated, hung on a crematorium walls, swirled together in a urn. Just a lot of different options of things you could have for the National Cemetery. Now, if you choose not to be buried in the National Cemetery, they will pay a portion. If the veteran dies before the spouse can file a claim and get transportation money back from the VA for that person. So I don't have all the answers in that arena. My arena is more getting the money for them, the dependent disability, money.
Right. No, but these are good things to know in case a veteran like comes across. They could be able to, they could either be able to even show some people some of these questions they might not know. What is a common misconception about getting your disability benefits that everybody might have?
I don't want to take anything away from the other veterans, so there's nothing wrong with me. People say that all the time. There's something wrong with everybody. So, can't see it, but I had ACDF, a neck surgery in the front and in the back, via the compliments of the military while I was in. And so they paid me for that disability. Some people have hysterectomies. Some people have vasectomies. Some people have, it just depends. Some people have a whole bunch of things. Anything that like appendicitis and they took out your appendix, all these things are claimable.
I don't appreciate, ma'am. I don't appreciate you talk about the flat foot people, right?
But you have a lot of things that you're
That wasn't the army. Well, I'm so sick of hearing that because it's like they always, you got flat feet. And I'm trying to figure out, now you're saying it. What does that mean?
So your arch are flat to the floor. So when a flat-footed person, is very difficult for them to do the duck walk that they made you do to come into the military. So you probably was falling over or whatever, trying to balance yourself doing the little duck walk they make you do.
So they always stop like, you got flat feet, right? What the heck does that mean? I mean, and they make it, every doctor make it sound so serious. I'm like, what? So what type of problem? Because you were saying something about
your lower back,
right.
and your lower back pains. You could get radiculopathy, the nerve, the sciatica and femoral nerve pains coming down from the back. All those kind of things lead to that.
What if you got into a car accident when you were in the military?
Those items are possible too. So,
So even if, go ahead, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you were in a car wreck and you had a concussion. You're blacked out. So you have a TBI now, traumatic brain injury. Even though it may not be traumatic, it was just simple concussion at the time. Then things that are thereafter that can be connected to that: nausea, what else? TBI. Dizziness, vertigo, things that you might have thereafter, that migraines, those things. Those would be secondary things to the TBI, or the traumatic brain injury.
So what about blood pressure and like gastro issues? Like, say, because they make you eat a lot of like weird stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of times, and this is why I love reading the medical records myself. So the Army, they make us do annual physicals. So the doctor or the provider only gets 15 minutes with you per appointment. So when that happens, they just annotate your records, everything that happened. They do your blood work and everything, and they put it in there. So you may have had hypertension in the military, and no, you weren't taking medication for it, but your records will reflect that, high blood pressure. So that's claimable thereafter. And then other stuff is linked to that, the high blood pressure, you might have been having dizziness or a few other things that were going on with it, but you never came in and they said, oh yeah, you have high blood pressure here, we're going to put you on some pills. They probably never did that, but it's still claimable because when they took your blood pressure and recorded it, it shows all throughout the time period you took it what it was.
So why do they put out that when you're in any of the forms, you get the best medical ever? Now I'm you
15 minutes of it, yes.
They do a lot of experimenting. A lot of experimenting.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
it's not called experiment, it's called practicing.
They do a lot of practicing.
There
Yeah,
you go.
right. You get 15,
You know,
get
my
the 15
stepfather
minutes.
said that.
Mhm.
My stepfather said they was doing a heart surgery on him and left the actual thing that holds the heart open is some kind of coil or something. They
Mhm.
left it underneath his chest.
Yep.
So he had one stuck in his chest the whole time.
And they have to go back in and get it. So that's why we learned to count all the instruments. We counted all the sponges. And at the end, to make sure nothing was left inside, you had to count everything 2 or 3 times as it was coming out.
That's crazy.
That's the best 15 minutes of your life, right? I can't.
You have to realize that
Wow.
one case, you have hundreds and hundreds of instruments to do a surgery. So think of like neurosurgery. You have at least 10 to 12 pans of instruments with over 100 instruments in each pan to do that surgery. That's a lot of stuff you got to remember.
Yeah.
You have to be very brilliant.
I used to do. So, yeah.
So, you know what? I think I really thank you for your work. I'm going to show this website again. Definitely. I want the people to. I'm not sure if there's any people from the military that are here. If anybody comes up later on that sees this video, I really want them to come check out her website. Did you have any more questions, Sugar Love?
No, but I just wanted to know like this is but she's going to show us a private business that you're doing. But I would like to know, how does it make you feel that now you're doing this?
Oh my God. I am like so grateful to even be in the presence of helping people. I thank God every time I have the opportunity to do what I do.
You gotta take the thing down, DJ, because we can't see the thing in full.
Yeah, I don't
take the thing down. Leave that out. So but there we go. So we can see the whole thing in full. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I don't I don't do it alone, because I say sometimes I know it's crazy, but I get up at 3-4 in the morning and start doing work for benefits and stuff, and I just work till I get tired. And so that I've stopped my appointments at, I think it's 3 that I stopped the appointments, but I still get people calling all night long. I turned my phone off just because I knew that it would probably be ringing around this whole time we were talking, because people that get off work, they don't understand. And likewise with the weekends as well, they'll call Saturday, Sunday, they don't care. And I told them I don't work on Saturday, Sunday, so don't try me. But I just like when I'm able to help these people get their money, because yes.
This last question: once you are retired, right, and you have disabilities or whatever, how does that go? Let's say you're 100%, right? How does that go if you want to go? Let's say I'm still young. Let's say I put in my 30 years, but I'm still young. I want a whole new job. How does that go, and does that mess with your benefits?
Okay, so there are 3 different 100s. I am 100% permanent and total. That means I can work wherever I want to if I want to. So I got my retirement that's taxed. My disability is not taxed. So I get that full disability, and my retirement is taxed. Then the other 100 is a unemployable 100, meaning you cannot make more than $13,000 a year. The other 100 is a standard 100, and unless you meet the age requirement, if you are under it, they have the right to call you back and reduce it.
Oh, a lot of people, you would figure if you like regular folks, if you disabled, you can't work nowhere. So now, you can.
So
That's good to know.
the other portion with um, the disability is the veteran can also apply for Social Security disability and get that as well. So that's about 2 or 3 thousand extra a month on top of that as well.
Oh, okay. That's the
Mhm.
main thing I wanted to know. Thank you
They
so
have
much.
they have that option, but yeah, I'm just grateful. I can't scream it loud enough. I mean, I get to work with some great people that have been through many struggles. Like I said, I've seen struggle myself, but some of them are, struggling, and just this little bit of money helps them,
Wait,
get back
wait.
on
We
things. And
skipped the part now. Before we play that, and I know you're ready to go, but it's an inspirational story behind this that she didn't finish. You were homeless, right? You were homeless, and somebody said to you, uh, they said it again so you could catch on. You're homeless. You never finished with that part right there, and I think that's
that was that
inspiration we need to.
supervisor. That was that supervisor that was she was part of the financial part. I guess she's part of the DFAS, the financial, whatever. And I was telling her, hey, what happened? And she said, well, your stuff is set for 2 years. And I said, no, I did my own paperwork. It's supposed to be benefits delivered on discharge. And she said, no, that's not what's here. And I said, we just argued back and forth. She said, where are you living? And I said, I'm staying with friends. I can't afford anything to live anywhere. And she said, well, sweetheart, you're homeless. And I said, I never thought of it that way. She said, do you have your own place? You pay your own rent? Do you have this? Do you have, and everything was no. And then, it was like, bam, bricks in my face. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm actually homeless. And the only saving grace for me is that I have friends that are letting me sleep in one of their rooms at their house,
So what was the next step after that?
Well, because I wasn't getting anything, I tried to, this was a great one. So
Mhm.
I figured I was always looking for a real job on top of this too, but I was just doing this for free. So I
Mhm.
had applied to the Dallas VA, and there is a program called Victor Romeo Alpha, VRA. Every federal service has it. So as a veteran, and I was retired, you can go to their HR and ask, who is the VRA? That person will take your resume, and whatever you qualify for, they will call you and say, hey, this job, you don't compete against anybody else but veterans. That's it, for whatever job it is. So during that time, it was COVID,
Is
and they
that
had,
only for retired, or is that for just veterans?
I don't remember who. I think it's just veterans, because civilians can't participate. It's just veterans.
Do you have
But I
to
don't
be?
know if you have to be retired for it or not. I don't know that part, but I
That's
did.
good. That's good to know, because I never heard. I need to do that right
So
now.
it's a great program. So it does not matter where you come in at, you just come in. So they contacted me and said, hey, we have a job. Do you want it? And I was like, sure. So it was working in the shot clinic at the Dallas VA during COVID, giving out
Mhm.
shots and everything. So I did that. And 2 weeks in, because what I did, this is backing me back a little bit. So when I commissioned in, I was working at the Augusta VA. So I had left because I was going to the military. So they had to hold my job for me for 5 years.
Mhm.
So all the time I had accumulated, plus I bought back my enlisted time, plus the 5 years that I had there. So, and then I had already retired from the military, now back to Dallas. So once I had worked there for 2 weeks, the HR came back and said, hey, did you know you have 20 years? You can retire. But I'm not old enough. That was the problem. So I contacted retirement services, and they said, hey, you can resign your job, because if you keep working in that job, you're going to get lesser money. But about the VRA, it is a great program. So the thing about it is, you can come in as say I came in as a GS5. but my education qualifies me for is GS 9 or 11. So I don't have to go through all the steps under VRA. I could just step out of the 5 and go up to that 9, and I get that job if it's available. And I can compete like that. So you don't have to do all the steps to get there. You could just come out of that one and go into the one that you qualify for.
So
It's
after you get
That's
that,
good to know about the
is
VRA.
that when you start looking for your own home? Like, what was that journey
Oh, I
like?
didn't get to a home for a while. I stayed in, once I got money, I was getting money, got turned on at 6 months. I went and lived in Saginaw. I rented a house there in Saginaw. And at the end of the time of my lease, meanwhile, my realtor, and he helps all my veterans as I go through the process of getting them their disability, Gerald Cooper. He's phenomenal. He's a really good friend to the gentleman that's over the state of Texas, Alfred Lennox. He's the realtor's representative for the state of Texas. They're best buds. They were both Army warrant officers. And so Gerald, when I was renting, he helped me get the place that I rented. And I was renting. He was helping me fix my credit and get ready for purchase. Don't spend this much. Don't do this. Don't do that. I mean, I knew a lot of this stuff. You just need to be reminded. Don't do this. Don't do that. Protect your, protect this, protect that. So at the end of my lease, I let him know that it was coming to end. And I mean, I was at the squeak credit score. I think I was like 20. And I ended up being able to purchase the house down in Cleburne. It was $292, and I had been approved for $350. So I thought. So the gentleman, the bank told me I can only get $220, and the broker in San Antonio told me I can get $350, but he wouldn't do the promissory paper to tell you what you qualify for when you go shop for a house. He wouldn't do that paperwork for me. He said, just come back to me when you're done. And I said, okay. So I shopped. I found the house in Cleburne. I'm excited. I tell the realtor I want that one because we had went to Keller and the same house was $50,000 more. So he told the builder, D.H. Horton, that I wanted that house. And they said, well, if she goes with us, then we'll do all the upgrades in the house. And he said, just say yes. And I said, okay, yes. And so I said, I need one thing though. And he says, what? I said, tell him, please don't run my credit again because my score going to drop again. And first house. And so he said, okay. He said, okay. So they didn't run it. I went in, I moved in, year went by. I knew the rule that you had to live there 1 year and then you can get another house. Now, I'm not making all this money that I could go and get another house. I'm not even ready for this. But I called Gerald and I said, hey, I've been a year. I want to get my second house. Because I knew I could rent one out to pay for the other one. So I was doing this as investment. So he said, okay. And so I reached back to the guy in San Antonio because he was going to give me $350 and asked him again. He says, what do you mean you bought a house? He said, I'm sick of you people. Y'all always do this to me, veterans. That y'all see shiny new things with builders and you go with them and you drop me. And then I says, well, what did you do? And he says, I did all the work to get you into the house and this is this. So he went back, he pulled all my papers and I just couldn't believe it. He never ran my credit. I got that house with the grace of God. My credit was never ran.
Beautiful.
Never ran. I called back to my realtor. I said, Gerald, you're not going to believe this. And he said, you've been paying the mortgage, right? And I said, yeah. He said, you ain't got nothing to worry about then. Don't worry about it. They messed up. It's okay. And he had never checked my credit, never nothing. So I was good in that respect, but it was by grace of God I got that first house because my credit was on the
Does the same rule apply for somebody that was like, even if you was an honorable discharge, or does the same rules apply for them?
Dishonorable are the only one.
Honorable,
you can get everything. Honorable's just flat out. General, under honorable conditions, you're good. So the problem comes with this, and I have two people in this situation right now. And a young lady, she did 2 weeks in the military. She's at 90%. And this gentleman in St. Louis, I did his claim. He did 32 days in the military, and he's 100%. Now, here's the problem. You have to do at least 120 or 180. I can't remember the exact number. You have to have that. I think it's 180. You have to have at least 180 days in the military to use your benefits, like purchasing a home and all of that stuff. So Gerald is doing something because that guy qualifies for 100% disability, and he's trying to get a waiver so that guy can purchase his home.
Why? I mean, you covered some of everything. Oh my goodness, we are so thankful for you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for that beautiful glowy smile that you have. You made all our day. Now, DJ, if you'd like to put the website up, I don't think I have any more questions. And thank you for taking your time and explaining the questions to us.
And thank you, Monica, for making me do it.
Right, for sure, yeah.
I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, because I haven't. I've been asked to go, and I like speaking and interacting with the public directly. Conversation, this kind of forum I haven't been in. I do have the opportunity to go and talk on one of the radio shows with one of the family members that's on the Tom Joyner. Their whole family is radio talk show hostess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
so
that.
How did you like your first internet interview then? And were you happy with us? Were you comfortable with us?
Thank you. Yes. And you guys kept it going. I appreciate that. That helped me also too, because I didn't know how much I needed to give or did not give. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So these are like these are some
all the forms that I utilize.
Well, go back down to the reach out. Go back down, right? Okay. Now, okay. You see, it says frequently used forms, right? That would be at the top, right? But even would that be before the reach out to us, or would that be
actually
that's the then the reach out to us?
So if you go up to the top, there is make an appointment right there where the cursor is. Schedule an appointment. They start right there. Yep, right there. And once you get an appointment, I can find out what you have, what you haven't done, and we can go from there. Definitely. You can call, and you're probably going to be directed to make an appointment. And thanks to my veteran who made my website for me too.
They did a great job. It's very professional.
Yes.
Very easy to use.
His name is on there somewhere, 469, Mike 469.
And if you guys know anybody that was a vet and you feel that they did not get they deserved, please check Ms. Rose out. She's here to help. I couldn't think of that word, DJ. Thank you, darling. Thank you, DJ. She must have knew that it was at the tip of my tongue. I couldn't say it. Thank you.
A lot of people here that don't even know that they can get benefits. And
exactly. Yeah. If you scroll all the way to the bottom there.
Is everything different state by state, or all of this is federal?
All of it's federal. I can't remember what portion of it. You probably passed it already. It'll show you exactly how many people have 100% right now. It updates once another person gets 100%.
So whichever state you're in, the same rule applies, correct?
Some
because it's federal,
things
right?
don't apply. So the property tax exemption doesn't apply across the board the same way.
That's good to know.
The vehicle registration, some people's vehicle registration is free no matter what. Some of them in Chicago, all you have to have is 70% and you're 100% tax exempt. So every state is different. Florida is similar to us.
Girl, I would have went in there for my 180 days. Okay, I would have did my 180 days.
You never know. That's all you need, though.
They were like, "Wow, like these flat feet ain't working. I got to go."
Yeah. But you do a lot of running and walking and all that other stuff. But I was already a runner when I got in there. So that was another thing that was like so much fun. Being a commander, there were days I really didn't want to run. And I would come out, and my first sergeant, she would motivate me. She said, "Ma'am, do you want to run just a short one, just a short one?" I'm like, "Okay." And we start off doing a short one. I get warmed up. It's a done deal. We going 5 miles then, because I liked running. So I just had to get started, and
I
she would
used
do
well
that.
in my younger day. I used to like the whole physical process because I like was a sports. I played like all sports and we
Mm-hmm.
used to lift our weights and everything. I think I wanted to go, but because of the concept that stopped me from going was that long term because I had my daughter. So that long term plan, I didn't have that because I was already ready to go, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
I
have
want to
them
show
two
you
plans
guys
together. Go ahead, DJ.
really quick. I want to be
Well, we can't see you. Keep putting the stuff up, DJ.
Oh, okay. I wanted to show you guys the process. The process, just so if a veteran does reach out, this seems like it's a pretty lengthy process, but it really isn't. It's a
It goes
lot of
fast.
it goes really quickly because I'm pretty much. I think here. Wait, I'm here.
Can you
So
read a little bit?
I'm
Read
about.
like what are we looking at? Read it out to us.
That's
Uh,
just a schematic to show you the flow of
Okay.
claim process when you get
right.
started. You make the appointment, you get introductory process, you sign the contract, you submit all your documents at that time. Then right there, the prepare of your medical records, we read all the stuff. And then the conditions that are revealed and filed, everything sent to you. And then you would sign and date all the documentation at that point, send it in the envelopes that were provided for you. It's a seamless process, really. Everything's provided. You put the stuff in the mail, you put a prayer on it, then they receive it on their end, then you are going to be contacted by those companies, VHS, LHI, uh, QTC, or OptiServe. Once they contact you, you ask them what the appointment is for. Then at that point, you look up the symptoms associated with it, not to lie, but to help educate yourself about your
Yeah.
condition. You're not a doctor, so this will help you. And once you get in, you say what you have. They say what they have. They send that competent doctor, and your notes go up to the VA. VA determine what percentage you fall in. They drop the money in your bank account. 5 weeks later, you then get a decision letter, which I need after you get, so I can see what to do next. And then we just go the process again.
What is the longest? What would be the shortest time it took for
Okay,
somebody, and what would be the longest time someone?
the longest one that I've had was 3 weeks long, and I told this guy he was lying, and I felt bad afterwards because he sent me that decision letter, and he was at 80%. I don't know how that happened. The next shortest was 2 months, and kind of like on a average a 4-monther is about where a lot of them fall. Now I do have some that took 2 years, but they get all that back pay money from that too.
Because they have to find these documents and stuff, right? A lot of people.
Well, what I do is make it easy, and this is probably why my process works so well. I get your medical records. I pull the page out of, like if I get the disc, I print that page and put it in the claim so they don't have to look for it.
Perfect.
And I got my package in the mail. So
okay, so you're a little bit further along once you read and sign.
Go, DJ.
Yeah, I've already signed the contract. I'm not just got the package in the mail. I gotta do something and send it back, right? Send it to you. Or...
Nope, goes on to the respective people. Those envelopes inside. If you haven't looked at it, you'll see there's stickers on it. I say like Barney style. You sign and date where indicated. Put it back in the envelopes and put it in the mail.
See, so I'm about. I think I'm about at that at the green box.
You
on
there at the green, yeah. And you'll be then once they receive your claim, I encourage you to call every 3 weeks. This keeps your claim relevant because they don't know if they're being audited or they don't know if a supervisor is checking it or not.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And the only thing I forgot to do was call the 1-800 number to let them know I intend on filing a claim. That's
Well,
another thing.
that's so I tell people to do that because a lot of people will call me, and this helps them save their space because some people just don't want to do it right now, and that's understandable. But in the meanwhile, since you're gonna wait, I encourage you to file an intent to file. You call the 800-827-1000 number. An intent to file is just somebody standing in line for you until you come back. So say last year, September, somebody stood in line for you, and now you're here today and you want to do your file. Well, they're going to pay you all the way back to September where that person was standing for you. And that's what the intent to file does. And it's good for 1 year.
Right. Okay. Intent to file.
Mm-hmm.
So by the way, you guys, that's when you guys start the process, make sure that you're on top of it and you do.
Some people just go ahead and file an intent to file, and then they seek to do a claim later. But you have to do it. Like I have a gentleman, his intent to file expires in July. What did he say? 16th or something. And he wanted to hurry up and get paperwork to put in right now. And I said, okay, I'll just send it to you. He said, because I didn't want to miss that money. I said, okay, that's fine. Because once you put it in, you send it all together.
Yes. So I want to thank you so much
Yes.
for this information. I've had other conversations with veterans, and they're like, you're not getting your benefits, and I'm like, what benefits? And I just didn't know that there was benefits, and this is the second time I'm doing something else, and somebody said you didn't get your benefits. People keep asking me, well, you ain't got your benefit? You didn't get your benefit? I'm like,
so
someone's like,
once you get
like, well, come on now.
say you did not retire, once you get to 100%, you are technically retired. You get a retired ID card, which is utilized the same. So you could go right over to the base and take hops, like when you're on active duty, and fly to other countries. Like on Fort Worth over here, they go to Ireland and Hawaii quite often.
What?
So, uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
DJ, you better call me.
So you can just jump on
You better call me, DJ.
And fly to other like city.
Oh yeah. So the thing about it is, it's great to be retired when you take a hop because you're flying based on their missions. It's not like I want to schedule this. It's not a schedule. So whatever their missions are, you're just hopping on a flight to go. That's why it's called a hop. You just get on the flight and go wherever they're going, and then you can hop on from there and on and on and on. So when I initially retired, my daughter had a break from school. I took her with me, and we did hops around the country. So we left Hawaii. We were going to Guam, but that canceled. So we just took the next thing, went to Alaska, to Japan. Then we went to Colorado, and you just kept going wherever they were going on the flights. And then once you get back to the United States, you just buy a plane ticket and fly back to wherever you came from.
Wow. See? And
call me, DJ.
Right. And you can take your benefits and go live out of the country.
Yes. So I have one friend here in Texas, Derek Johnson. He goes down to the DR all the time. He's 40%. I got him to 40%, and he's just too busy to let me work on his stuff. But he's at 40%, and he'll go down to the DR because he can get his free dental. You have to be 100% for dental here in the United States, but in the DR, he can get free dental down there.
Oh, at the base down in there's a base in the Dominican Republic.
Yes,
it's 40%. You can get your teeth done.
Well, it wasn't 40%. I don't know what the level is, but he's at 40. So he goes down and he gets dental cleaning and stuff like that. He tells me about it all the time. I said, I need to go to the DR just to go. And now it's hard to get in here in Dallas because there's so many people here. It's hard.
Yeah. It's surprising, like how many people probably are just getting like the basic just VA because and if they don't know if they can get at least a couple percent more, they might get better treatment and more different things that open up to them.
Also, at the 100%, the 100% gives you That's family. Sorry. The 100% gives you a lot of things. So your spouse gets Champ VA, which you'll have to go to disposition and sign up for. And that means the spouse is seen outside of the VA for their health care once you get to 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, these benefits go, the money is nice, but the benefits are phenomenal. So I'm 100%. I'm at 37 something because I just did straight across. I didn't do a whole bunch of special monthly compensations. My son is about 38, almost 3,900 a month, and he got a lot of special monthly compensations. So things like if you have hearing loss bilateral, they give you an additional $150. If you had a parathyroid taken out, you get an additional money on top of that, but it's still within the 100%. So those things are extra money on top of the disability money that gives you the special monthly compensation. So there's so many, like if you had an amputated arm, you get special monthly for it. Then once you get 70 or above, and say you had conditions that require someone to help you get a shower, cook your meals, potentially your spouse, they could apply for aid and attendant. They could apply for caregiver, and that person is then paid $1,900 just to do the things you would normally do. Take care of your loved
DJ, call me.
Right.
You need help doing what now?
shower, cook your food, give your pills, get you dressed, all of that.
I get you.
A lot of people understand. A lot of people just do not know that they are eligible to get these benefits, and you leave the military, you just think, oh, that's it, and maybe you got a general discharge and you don't think you can get any benefits. That's what happened to me.
And you can get other than honorable, you can get benefits. I have one person that got 100% with dishonorable discharge. So he had enough time of honorable time. So it's every 3 years you get honorable validated. We call them good conduct medals for us in Army. So every 3 years you can get those. So his first 6 years, he was good in the military. So that's when we helped him get all his disabilities within the first 6. The latter part where he was dishonorably discharged, we just didn't touch that time period, and he got all his other stuff up.
Listen, if whatever you are, if you're in the military and you do not have your disability benefits, contact Claims by Hart. Just contact them. Just maybe you find out whether you can get it or not. Even if you got a dishonorable, you got a general, whatever.
Yeah.
Just go and at least find out, because what could it hurt? Get your benefits, and you'd be surprised. There's, like I said, there's so many homeless veterans out on the streets, and they probably have no idea that this exists, or that it's even out there for them.
And it belongs to you, and is yours.
It is yours. It is rightfully yours.
And
rightfully yours.
And go get it.
You serve, you deserve.
You serve, you deserve.
And this show is about helping you. We brought you to Miss Rose. Pass it on to people you may know who may need help, and go get it.
I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Y'all
can give it to me. Y'all don't.
If you don't want to give it to me, all right. Can y'all see that better now? There you go. So that's the number 622-556-0253. And the website is claimsbyheart.net and info@claimsbyheart. Please check her out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been awesome. I really appreciate you being here. And what do we say all the time, Sugar Love?
DJ, take us out of here.
Compromise your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through. Now is the time. It's all up to you. Alchemize your energy. My friend, let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light. I love who I am. I'm loving me. Look in the mirror, unapologetically. Love what I see. Love who I am. I am invincible. I am a fan. My curves and my features, God makes no mistakes. I am successful. I am what it takes. I'm bulletproof. And I'm 100 proof. And I love who I see, because I'm living my truth. I'm invincible. I'm incredible. A star in the making. I reach past the clouds. I'm invincible. I'm incredible. And no one can stop me. Can't stop me now. I'm invincible.